from, and what was your expectation before coming to this conference?
So my name is Sonam Dolma. I'm from Wisconsin, USA, and my expectations for this honestly was to hear from different Tibetans and gain a different sort of perspective and see the different views from all over the world regarding our Tibetan conflict.
My name is Tenzin Siddharlode. I'm from Washington, D.C. And then I didn't really have no expectation. My only expectation was to learn and to connect with the panelists and as well as all the participants. That was my only expectation.
Hi, my name is Gelsang Dolker and I'm from Australia, Canberra. I don't really have any expectations because this is my first time coming here, like to a Tibetan conference. So I was kind of looking forward to it as well because I've seen a lot of youth, like young Tibetans from like America or like Europe, like doing a lot of things, so advocating for Tibet's cause. So I was kind of looking forward to meeting all of them, which was really nice actually.
My name is Tarchin. Currently I live in Delhi. My expectation is I already knew that there will be so many kind of, that energetic, kind of patriotics who can take the responsibility. So there are so many youths from all over the world. So that's my biggest expectation, to meet them, to engage with them, to exchange with them. Yeah.
My name is Claudia Dolman Serso and I'm from the UK, London. My expectation was to meet a big group of Tibetans and like a community, so I could like socialize, and like I used the opportunity to like socialize with everyone and meet new people. And I also wanted to see like everyone's international views on like the political state of Tibet, and also how we could like use visibility for the youth, because you know how there's like textbooks, websites like Tibetan in Tibetan, right? But none of the youth usually access it because it's not marketed properly. So I wanted to like forward that message forward and just like see how everyone like sees that. Yeah.
Oh, my name is Rinchin. I came from Bangalore and I'm currently studying Master International in Christ University. First thing, I really wanted to know something new and I want to learn something new. So I thought it would be better for me, for a good chance for me to come here. So.
Yes, my name is Siji Toje and I'm from Switzerland. Actually, before I came here, I didn't have a clear idea. I was just hoping to get more information about the Sino-Tibetan conflict and also about the system of the CTA.
So my name is Damien, I'm from London, and really there was more of an expectation of learning about the whole VTAC program, right? Because there was not as much information as there was online information, but there wasn't really kind of like talks that we heard from in the UK, right? So getting a little bit of information on that, which we received actually at the conference, that was good. That was the kind of key, more kind of like mission challenges and kind of the approaches the CTA would want us to take was kind of the gist of what we were where I was hoping to see. Yeah.
First and foremost, my name is Chimi Lamo. I'm currently based in New York, but originally from Toronto, and of course a Tibetan. I think rather than highlighting the expectation, I'd rather say my purpose of why I wanted to be part of this conference. There are two sort of purposes. First and foremost is to support the initiatives of our Central Tibetan administration, no matter who our Sikyong is, who our Kasha is, right? The goal as a Tibetan for me, and not just goal, but a duty for me and a responsibility, is to serve and support the initiatives of our legitimate voice that is the official representation of the Tibetan people, inside and outside. So first and foremost, to support the initiatives of the CTA. Second, it's really just building on the network of young people around, meeting young people from all around the world, specifically Tibetans. I'd love to get to know them, and not just on a personal level, but also build a network of how do we continue our advocacy work in every part of the world. Yeah, so that's why.
Sure. So what's your experience and your takeaway from this conference?
My experience has been wonderful so far. I think it brings me a tremendous amount of joy to be able to see young Tibetans not just surviving but thriving in different neighborhoods and different parts of the world. And they're not just young Tibetan leaders, they're young leaders in every aspect, right? I met some that are like medical doctors, some that are doing like computer science and doing all this ChatGPT stuff, and I was like, tell me more, teach me, And so that type of personal connection was one of the best experiences so far. But also in terms of takeaways is that we are the leaders that we've been waiting for. The Tibetan movement, sometimes we worry about the future of Tibet, but there is nothing to worry about because these young Tibetans are ready. And they're not just the next generation of leaders, they're the leaders of today. Right? We're taking leadership and initiative to own the Tibetan freedom movement, and so that brings me great joy and pride as being a Tibetan youth.
So there's a lot of takeaway actually from the conference. There's a lot of good speakers. Obviously awareness about the situation inside of Tibet, right? We had that first-hand kind of experience shared to us, but also kind of, on the advocacy side of things, more along the lines of kind of almost like a case study format, how to approach things and so on. A lot of Q&As, which is quite good. Interesting to hear, obviously, everybody's kind of questions and so on. That was quite good. A lot on kind of culture and the history of Tibet, which I think is going to be very key when approaching leaders on the independence of Tibet, tackling that kind of problem. So yeah, there's very informative. I think there's a lot for me to take back to the UK to teach other youth and kind of hopefully get them more involved.
My experience is that I learned a lot because as a person of youth, I'm pretty young, I'm 19, and there's a lot of elders, chojos and ajas, and with that knowledge, it made me, with that drive, it made me more confident to come out and contribute for Tibet, right? And I'm a Sarah student from Sarah College, and it makes me want to show everyone in the school my experience and how they should contribute and join these VTAG groups and different communities for Tibet.
It's very good experience. I learned something new, and I really feel great that Tibetan youth are coming together, and they think about the great future of the Tibet, and also there's a discussion about the Tibetans. So I really feel great for that.
In terms of experience, I can't say much at the moment. I'm just really here to learn and observe how it is done. Experience, it was really good because we had a lot of speeches from various people, right? So I think it was really nice listening to their experience and what they've done in their life, and sort of take away from their educations and stuff like that. So I think it was really nice.
My experience was absolutely wonderful. We spent a lot on this conference, a lot of money on this conference, and would I say that the financing and the money was worth it? Absolutely, 100%. Just the fact that we were able to bring together 100 participants from all over the world is valuable in itself. But I think there's two main things that I learned here. Number one, it's the technicalities. In Dr. Michael's session, I learned that the Qing dynasty shouldn't be used as a term for the Chinese because the Qing dynasty and China are different. We should separate those two. So those types of distinctions are one thing that I experienced. Secondly, it's remembering where I came from. A sense of passion I've always had a sense of passion, but then it's remembering that. For example, remembering why we should be grateful for Gyalrong Rinpoche, right? Why we should continue to work hard for our Tibetan movement, for the society at large, right? To bring His Holiness's message to fruition. So it's that it helps me remember all of the reasons why I work hard.
It was quite a moving one. I got a lot of information, but also kind of shocking first-person information, especially by Budo Kumon Yitenla. Yeah, it was quite touching.
So it's been an incredible experience. Little bit of mixed feelings, very optimistic in the sense that we've met, Tibetans from all across the world, and seeing just how hardworking and how much effort everyone's put into this. So that's been very, very made me feel very hopeful, but sad in the sense that we're all convening for this very reason, and the fact that all of us are hoping for a free Tibet, and that's not something that any of us have experienced yet. So a lot of mixed emotions, but I think I've learned that there's advocacy at different levels, and it's interesting to see that we can all approach things very differently. Everyone has their own views and perspective on how we can best approach it. But I think one thing that I learned is that as a student, my time is not really my own at the moment. I'm a medical student, and knowing that I can advocate for myself at the institutional level, so kind of spreading awareness about our Tibetan conflict at the institutional level among my peers has been very, very helpful. Yeah.
Even though this is kind of that young forum, but compared to their age, I'm a little bit that jujo. So I got kind of a lot of inspiration from those youngsters who is kind of having kind of aspiration to take the responsibility, and then this seems really encouraging.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about how you got selected to this conference?
When I was in Taiwan, there was that CTA notice or announcement for applying or joining for the VTech group. So of course, being a Tibetan, wherever you are, it's your responsibility to take the responsibility and then join. Yeah, whoever comes to the top, but it's we Tibetans, each and every one of us, we have the responsibility, so I joined that.
Basically, my older brother was already selected and he told me about the opportunity. So I decided to take it, and since I got in, I'm pretty happy that I did, and I recommend more youth to join. So yeah.
I actually learned later on that because I joined last year a conference in Geneva organized by the Tibetan Bureau in Geneva. Because I joined there, I was re-elected or asked whether I wanted to join this conference. That's how I got here.
I'm part of the VTAG for Wisconsin, and through that I received the invitation.
The way I got selected is one, I've been interested in VTAG. I learned about VTAGs 8 months ago, something like that. So I've been interested, and then we have a Puja podcast. So they reached out to us because I guess we're doing a little bit of good work. So they wanted us youth representatives who can speak our minds, who's also humble at the same time to learn, is eager to learn. So that's how I think I was selected. I'm not sure though.
I mean, growing up, as a Tibetan, it's your responsibility, so I grew up in Kangi, so that's I grew up, watching all my parents and everyone around me doing something for the cause of Tibet. So I've always had interest in, doing something for my country, So when I first heard about VTAG when I was in Australia, I was like, yeah, why not? I'll just join it. But I didn't actually know that there was going to be a conference here in India and all that. So I was just joining it because even if there's no gain, there's at least no harm or anything, So that's how I got in.
I usually check up Tibetan website and the CTA website and also I was intern in FNVA, so that one of my seniors, he suggested me there's something like this. So I really wanted to register, and I registered in the VTech group. Then I was selected. They call up. Yeah.
A couple of reasons why. Generally, I am very fortunate and privileged to be supported and given a lot of love from the Tibetan community as a young Tibetan leader. So I'm very grateful for many of the invitations that I received from all across parts of the world from Tibetan initiatives. Initially, I was invited as a young Tibetan leader. In addition to that, I'm also registered as a VTAG member. When Sikyong visited Toronto, he encouraged young people to apply, and I did because I thought it was my duty to do so. So many of the people that are here at this conference, I believe, are either VTAG members or young leaders that are recognized in their local communities.
Yeah, so I was actually I saw a lot of potential in the youth, which I thought was quite untapped. And so I reached out to some Tibetans within, I guess you call it a network, right? The people in the UK, London. And I got in touch with somebody from Office of Tibet, right? Ajalocho. And then she proposed to me the idea of this VTAG and, asked me if I'd be interested. Naturally, I said I'd be interested, and, I got the invitation to attend.
So do you have any suggestion and feedback to this conference?
Yeah, I think, first of all, the conference was definitely great to put everybody in touch. So that was very good, networking-wise. There was a lot of, obviously, informative sessions. One or a couple of things I would recommend would be more practical focused sessions for the future, right? Obviously, at this point, it's more information, right? So maybe something along the lines of more case studies and workshops, right? Which I think actually tomorrow, Michael, he might be hosting a workshop on advocacy as well, so that's going to be quite good. But something more along these lines, and also maybe introduction to people who could be very helpful with advocacy and so on, right? These are things that are worth definitely considering.
I think no, because everything went pretty smoothly. There was also English translations live for us because I'm personally not fluent in Tibetan. So I don't think there's any feedback, to be honest. Yeah.
No bad ones so far, at least for serious feedback. I need some more time to reflect, but so far no bad feedback at least.
Yeah, I think maybe coming in with a more fixed agenda next time. I think overall they couldn't have gone about it a better way, but I think due to everyone having so many different sorts of ideas, just having a little bit more structure I think would be helpful. But yeah.
I think from next year, the more people should be participant, and even the 1 year, 2 year, how many takes is time, there will be more people should be participant, and it will bring the youth to make a difference in the better future, I think.
one thing I want to suggest is, number of our that youngsters are not that kind of aware or knowledgeable about China. Ultimately, we have to face that. We have to understand that. So for them, for that reason, I feel like next time we also need little bit kind of talk or discussion about what we can understand on China that direct to the China.
I think I feel what everyone else had felt. Like the session was a bit long, especially like when it's a very long speech and stuff. Everyone's like tired and wants to like sleep. So I feel like if it was a bit shorter until like 4 p.m. or at least 4:30ish, I think it would have been much better for everyone like to at least have some free time to sort of communicate with like other people, other like participants, and spend more time with them as well. So yeah, like the session was a bit too long, but at the end I think it was really nice as well though.
I think it's very difficult given His Holiness's always changing schedule, but we have 100 participants from all over the world. Many of them won't come to India again in the rest of their lives. This is a prime opportunity for them to meet His Holiness the Dalai Lama. If we could have scheduled a sort of a let's say a audience with Gyalpo, it would have been amazing. But of course, it's very difficult. Gyalpo's schedule is always changing. So I think that would have been a great opportunity for youngsters like me, other youth. So I think that's something that if we can try to do in the future, I'm sure they did it this time, but if we can really try to prioritize next time, it would be amazing.
I think general suggestion that I would give, not just to CTA, but any Tibetan organization, even media entities, right, is to invest in the young people. Young people are ready to take the platform. They need opportunities. They need the platform. They're hungry for these opportunities, and they may not have the experience yet, but you will be the platforms that will give them the experience. And so similarly, this conference has also been a platform for many young leaders to take on the initiative, take on the stage, or take on a different type of role in policy driving, policy initiatives. And so they're honing their own skills to be the leaders that they're capable of being. And so invest in the young people is my sort of takeaway and suggestion.
Okay. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Okay.